We haven't had a fire in a while. Let's see if the Shield Plus is up to the job. All right, everybody, this is the Sig Sauer P365xl. This is the gun I've been carrying for a while. I love this gun. I've done several videos on it. Just amazing how much capacity they can fit in these small carry guns these days. So let's shoot it a couple times. It's been a while since I've had this one out, actually. See if we can hit that small target. There we go. I'm still getting used to the red dot. I haven't shot this one in a while, so it's still kind of weird to me, but I think that was 11 or 12 rounds, which is amazing in a gun this size. But recently, I got this magazine. This is 15 plus 1 and a small little carry gun like this. Now, obviously, it extends your grip to like the size of a Glock 19 or maybe even longer, so you are gonna print a little bit more if you carry this magazine, but let's shoot a couple rounds out of this. Go one-handed. Try the small target one-handed. There we go. Maybe I should start shooting one-handed. I'm hitting the target more than I am the regular way. Man, it just feels like you can shoot all day long. And obviously in a concealed carry gun, more rounds is always a good thing. So, like I said, I love this gun, but every time I upload videos on it, I get quite a few comments, believe it or not, from people saying that they would never own another Sig after what happened with the Sig P320s a couple years ago and the whole drop safe issue. And I don't subscribe to that, but I absolutely don't blame anyone who refuses to own Sig Sauer pistols after that whole thing, because obviously that is a really serious problem. Of course, they say they fixed that issue, and these guns apparently don't have that problem. And when it comes to concealed carry, this gun is as close to perfect as anything that I've seen so far. The only issue that I really have with this gun is the trigger. Now, when I first saw the trigger, I thought that I would love it because I do like flat face triggers like that. But you can tell just by looking at it, there's not a lot of room in front of that trigger. And in the wintertime, I did a video on this gun and showed you guys that when you have gloved fingers and you try to put your finger in that trigger guard, you literally have to squeeze the trigger a little bit just to fit your finger in the trigger guard. And that is a humongous issue, something that I've never liked about this gun. Obviously, you could replace the trigger, but if you buy a $600 gun, you don't really, want to have to replace parts, and you shouldn't have to either. So I just realized that I'm trying to be all serious and show you guys these guns with the douchiest t-shirt that I've ever worn in my life. I didn't even realize that I had this on today. Not a shirt that I planned on wearing on the channel. Apologize. So that's really the only problem that I've had with this gun, and I believe the regular P365s have a different trigger and obviously don't have that same problem. Which brings me to this. This is the 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. This is like the ultimate middle finger to the Sig P365xl. I've only had it for a couple days, but this has to be probably the best concealed carry gun that I've ever seen. So really quick, I want to thank turtlelaketactical.com, as always, for sending this gun out for us to play with today. Go visit their website, help me thank them, because once again, they've sent us just an absolutely awesome gun. So, like I said, I haven't shot it a bunch, but so far it appears to just be the ultimate concealed carry gun, and it actually gives you a similar capacity to the Sig P365xl and an even smaller package. So, let's put a few rounds through this one. Man, the trigger on this one just absolutely beats the Sig into the ground. It is one of the nicest triggers on a handgun out of the box that I've ever felt. I'll give you guys another close-up look at this thing. You can see the trigger, hopefully, is kind of a weird shape to it. It's got the little safety like the Glock has, but once you depress that, it's almost a flat-faced trigger. There's not a whole lot of curve there, and the break and the reset is just absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how heavy it is. I would imagine it's probably 5 or 6 pounds. Most of these guns are, but it just feels super light, super crisp, you know, just good all the way around. After shooting the Sig, it's actually kind of weird to get used to because it's just so much better. But I came out here the other day and put a few rounds through this, and I was hitting the 8-inch gong at like 20 yards. Absolutely no problem. So if you can't tell, I'm in love with this gun. So the short magazine, I believe, is 10+1, and you can see that the pinky kind of hangs off there, but it actually comes with this, which is 13+1, so 14 rounds, and a tiny little gun like this, and it gives you a pinky extension so you can get a full grip on it. Let's shoot this mag. Let's try it one-handed. Shoot our bulletproof glass. There we go. Man, that's a small little target from all the way back here, but one miss out of 13 rounds or something, so not too bad. All right, so let's go ahead and look at these side by side. So this is with the short magazines in them, and you can see the length of the grip is definitely shorter on the Shield Plus. It's kind of hard to keep them even. But the Sig does hold 12+1, I believe, with this mag, and the Shield only holds 10+1. So 2 more rounds in the Sig. But what's interesting is the thickness of the grip. So you can see the Shield is on your left, I believe, and the Sig is on your right. And the Sig just has a much thicker grip and a much thicker magazine. So I don't know why that is. The M&Ps is definitely like longer this way, but much thinner in the grip than the Sig P365xl, and it's noticeable when you shoot them. I do like the grip on the Sig. It's really short, like this way short, and fits in the hand really well, but obviously thinner is better when you're talking about concealed carry, and the Smith & Wesson definitely wins that one. And then you can also see that the Smith & Wesson has a slightly shorter slide, not much, maybe a ½ inch, but it's definitely shorter, just an overall smaller gun. And then with the extended magazines, you can see how much longer the Sig is than the Smith & Wesson. Now this is obviously 15+1, and this is only 13+1. But 14 rounds in a concealed carry gun is plenty, and I've never carried the Sig with that extended magazine just because it does stick out so far. It's literally like the size of a Glock 17 or something, just a really long grip with that magazine, whereas this one doesn't hardly add anything to the overall length of the grip. So the Shield does have an external thumb safety, which I know a lot of people aren't a fan of, but what I like about the Shields that have safeties is they're passive. So you can just choose not to engage it, carry it with the safety off, and it still has the trigger safety and, you know, all the internal safeties that other guns have, so it's safe to carry even when you don't have the thumb safety on. Another thing I've noticed is the magazines on the Shield are way easier to load than they are on the Sig. I don't know if it's just a matter of breaking them in, but those mags have always been really tough to load to full capacity. So we're just gonna start putting some different rounds through this thing and see how it handles it. Now we have Winchester white box brass 9mm. Before we were shooting steel case Wolf, which if it cycles the Wolf, it'll probably cycle the brass, but let's see how it does. Should be a little hotter as well. Definitely hotter. All right, next up we have the Sig V Crown 115 grain hollow point. Obviously a carry gun, needs to cycle hollow points, and ironically, while we're crapping on the Sig, we're gonna put Sig ammo through the M&P. Let's see how it does. That yellow target's pissing me off. I'm gonna try to empty this whole magazine on it. Perfect. You can see empty magazine and cycled just fine. And this here is the 147 grain Spear G2, another really common self-defense round. Not a big fan of these or the Sig V Crown, honestly, but that's why I'm using them for the video. So we just did 115 grain. Let's see how it cycles 147 grain. Kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. Perfect. Once again, cycled just fine. So I took down that house wall setup that we did in the last video and put them on the railroad ties. So we're gonna go ahead and finish those off. And since we have 2 pistols out here, let's dual wield them. Haven't done this in a while, but it wouldn't be right if we didn't. Well, I think we ventilated that thing. So next up, we're gonna shoot these. These are called the Devastators. You can see that red tip on the end of the bullet. I think there's only like 2 of them left, but I bought a couple boxes of these like 2 years ago, and they're expensive as heck. This is the package that they come in, and I've literally never seen what they do. They don't expand in gel, they don't explode on impact, they don't really do anything. I think it's just a gimmick, but this is what it says on the box. So it says, you will never shoot a more devastating ammo. A special detonating tip causes gross expansion and fragmentation. You will never shoot a more powerful, deadlier round. So I don't know what they do. Let me know in the comments if you guys have ever shot these, but we're gonna go ahead and finish these off because I'm sick of looking at them in my safe. I'll probably put one on the steel and then one on our house walls and see if it explodes into a million pieces. I don't think it's going to. Steel first. The muzzle flash is insane. And they're super loud, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think they do anything. We haven't had a fire in a while. Let's see if the Shield Plus is up to the job. Oh yeah, actually we got some more rounds in the magazine. Nice. All right, everybody. Well, that is going to conclude our very first video on the 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P Shield Plus. My honest opinion on this gun is I love it. I absolutely love it, and that's one of the problems of having a YouTube channel like this and being into guns, is something better is always right around the corner. I just bought the Sig like 6-8 months ago, not very long ago at all, and now I'm probably going to replace it with the M&P Shield Plus because it just checks every box. It's literally the perfect carry gun. And then in a year they'll come out with version 2 and I'll probably replace this with that. It's just the way it goes. It's an expensive hobby, but I just can't help myself. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this gun. If any of you have one or if you've tried it out, I'd be glad to hear from you guys as always. If you like the video, please let me know down in the comments below and hit that like button for me, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.